What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be putting together my next budget build, and also we're going to see, is a Ryzen 3 1200 still a viable gaming option in today's gaming world? Let's find out. Alright guys, so let's take a quick look at the parts that we got here for the budget build. We're going to start here with the motherboard. We got the MSI B350 Pro VDH. This is a micro ATX board, which is going to work well with my case. I actually bought this as a combo deal with the processor, so might as well jump into that. And here we got the AMD Ryzen 3 1200. So processor, cooler, and motherboard, all for $100. So not a bad deal there. So over here to the memory, we got 8 gigs, 2 4 gig sticks of G.Skill Ripjaws at 2400 megahertz. Actually picked this up on Newegg for $39. Next here we got the RX 570 4 gig, the Asus Strix model. I picked this up locally for $80. Over here we got the EVGA B450BR 450 watt power supply. Good power supply. I've used these in multiple builds already. Picked this guy up on Amazon for $39. And on with other trusty equipment that I've been using, a Kingston 120 gig boot drive we're just going to be using this for. I got this for $19 on Amazon. And since we kind of have like a red theme going, we got some red memory, the case has some red accents, and the motherboard has some red kind of, well, it has LEDs we can sync to red. I bought some up here, 3 120mm fans in this box. I actually bought the same product before and used it in another build. Fans are pretty good. They're pretty silent for what they are. And the LEDs look pretty neat. So I'm gonna put the 3 of those guys in here, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. So lastly, us talking about the case. This is the Cooler Master 3.1 Master Light. They have like tons of different variations of this case. This is a budget case. It's $40. I forgot to mention I got the fans for $12 or $13. So this budget case is again $40. Pretty well reviewed case. So I haven't built in it before, so it kind of goes with the theme. So I figured why not? Just give it a shot. Alright guys, so that pretty much does it for the parts overview. As we mentioned, we got some parts here locally and some parts brand new, watching the right times to buy, etc. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the value of the parts that I got and the value of the total build. So next is going to be putting this sucker together and see what it can do.
When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Clear sky. Where am
Alrighty, we're all put together. I just tossed in an extra SSD here that I had on hand that I already have an OS on that I have some games on just for quick, easy access. So let's flip the power. Got a light on the graphics card. Hopefully I cabled everything okay. Seeming like it. Looks like we got some activity here. Alright, let's go to give me some BIOS. Something. Oh, just redo it again. Ah, there we go. Very nice. Loading up Windows. So, there she is. Said the red scheme is looking pretty good. I'm curious about these fans. They are basically right up on that acrylic panel. So I'm thinking, worst case, I can move them back. So I'm going to kind of be testing temperatures, see how things go. Obviously, they look better on the front. So I'm trying to keep it that way if the temperatures aren't bad. You know, this isn't a super high TDP CPU. The only thing I'm more probably concerned about is the video card, seeing what kind of temps it'll pull, but obviously that's what the benchmark's for, and we will get to it.
Starters, one out of a million will reach those heights. Always had a feeling that I won't deny that work. Never could toss. Look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks. Rise.
Alrighty guys, so I've got Fortnite fired up here. Let's see what it can do here in the stock formats. Just to quickly show you, got resolution video settings, we're at high on epic view distance 1080p. So pretty high level settings, not the highest. I'm trying to do a hot drop in with some folks here for some added stress. So there's someone. So dropping down, it's kind of dipping into the low to mid 50s. A little stuttering action going on, but not terrible. Again, this is like kind of your worst case scenario anyway. I'll follow this guy, these people. Here we go. This will be hot live action. All right. If I can get me a kill. Nice. Try to pay particular attention to the CPU utilizations, see if we're hitting any CPU bound situations. That is what would cause us some stutter. I saw a guy in here somewhere. Ooh. Got him. The mouse sensitivity is way too high right now. Turn it down. Okay, there we go. That's manageable. Yeah, kind of lit me up. Alright, so we're hitting around 80s to 90s. Oh, alright. Didn't even see that guy. just right there next to me. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna let this go in spectator mode for a bit, kind of stress the CPU and video card. Really, I'm looking for, as I mentioned, I want to see if I'm gonna hit like 100 on holding time, durations of time on the CPU, and also I'm looking for just generalized temperatures, kind of seeing how things. 72 on the graphics card right now, not too bad. Low 50s on the CPU, that's not bad. So I'm gonna let this go and kind of get us a baseline, see how things go. All right, so we're watching the end of this game finish up. Been keeping an eye on CPU usage, looking for any kind of bottleneck that would lead to stutters. So far, I mean, it hits a little high, like 70s to 80s, but I mean, it doesn't hold, so that's good. Overall, looks pretty smooth. GPU's gotten a little toasty. I think this is actually the hottest I've seen at 77 degrees. But as you can see, the average frame rate about 103. Again, this is a unlocked frame rate on a 60 hertz monitor, so you can definitely get some smoothness out of it if you lock in the frame rate depending on your monitor. But overall, I'd say it's performing pretty well. So we're going to move on to the next benchmark here, and that'll be Apex Legends, and just get an idea of how well it performs in that scenario. Alright guys, firing up our next benchmark here, Apex Legends. Just to give you a quick idea of what settings we're running. 1920 by 1080, full screen mode, every setting about medium to high. Similar settings to Fortnite. So here we go. Let's see how we do. I am the jump master. Okay. I'll let someone else. Okay, here we go. So dropping in, I'm gonna hit this dumpster junkyard area. Looking like about 90 to 100 frames a second. We're gonna hot drop in with a team, so this will be a good little testament to how well I can play here. Alright, be done. Is that my teammate? No. Okay. Alright. So yeah, run around, looks like getting 70 to 80 frames a second. CPU utilization seems to be up a little higher than was with Fortnite. That's okay though. I don't feel any major stutters or any bad performance glitches. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, I'm getting bored. I don't know this game well enough to know where like all the guns are, so sorry for that. Uh-oh, fell down. He's a bad guy. I'm gonna go punch him. Whatever. Just want to kind of see what the numbers around me here. Skip. Alright, so spectating my teammate here. Oh, he got killed. Not looking good for my team here. Oh, we're all dead. Okay, so we're gonna spectate. So yeah, looking at it, I would say it's running pretty similar numbers to Fortnite. Actually, it looks like the average is up a bit higher than Fortnite. But I'm gonna let this go for a bit and just kind of spectate. Literally, see how well things go and what kind of numbers I get. So I think I let it burn in pretty good. Overall, oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, it looked like my Reva Tuner stats were like frozen, and like if you notice, it was like all in the 140s there. So I restarted it. Looks like it's collecting stats better. Let me get this. But anyway. One thing I noticed is it does stutter just a little bit in this game. It does seem to be a little more CPU intensive. And you can see the stutters when the CPU utilization hits a high 90 or max level. So very minor stutter. It doesn't seem as lock-up type stutters as Fortnite. But anyway, I'm pretty excited to get some overclocks on it and see if that kind of helps take away some of that CPU bound issue, or maybe we can squeak out some more frames and or maybe just kind of make a better, smoother gameplay. Again, you know, your best gameplay scenario is probably playing to the frame rate of your monitor, but this is kind of just seeing what the hardware will do. So anywho, we're gonna proceed with the overclocks and see what that nets us. So stay tuned.
It's all about humanity.
All right, finishing up, and we are at not bad, 578. So we bumped it up. What was it, 480 something? 487, I think it was. I thought, for some reason, I'm not seeing my score. Maybe is that 481? So sitting at 578, raised it, you know, about 100 points or so, give or take. That's pretty darn respectable. Actually, you know, I meant to see how hot it was getting during the run too. So let's open up hardware info. Just check on that, since we did apply a good amount of voltage, and give it another run one more time. This will lower our score a little bit because we got an extra program open. I'm really just concerned with temperature here. We'll just check it here in just a second. So it's running, we're 61 is our max so far. Really not hitting super high temperatures. That's pretty good, not bad. Of course, we're not really putting much crazy amount of strain on the CPU. I'm gonna hit it with Prime 95 after this just to ensure stability before I may up it up more if it's thermally gonna let me do it. I'd say that's, I guess we'll see what this finishes at. See if we can back up that score. Yeah, just a little bit lower of a score. That's pretty expected when you have stuff running in the background. So not bad. I'm going to open up Prime 95 and let it run for about 20 minutes or so just to ensure stability. Alrighty, we're all finished up with the benchmarks on the post-overclock settings. Had to say things looked like they shaped up pretty well. And let me take you around and show you what I'm talking about here. Alright, so real quick, I just want to show you kind of where we're at with CPU-Z. So as you can see, we got a 3.8 core, all-core overclock, 38 times multiplier, and about 1.3 volts. I tried to get more, and getting just 3.9 volts on this processor required almost 1.38 volts, and the temperatures were getting pretty much outside the realm of this cooler being able to cut it. So I figured, you know, we're at the point of diminishing returns. Let's just keep it at 3.8 and we can keep the voltage at a very sane level. Also, I was able to overclock the memory to 2666, not messing anything with the timings, just strictly putting more megahertz to it. This is a 2400 rated kit, and saw some improvements with that as well. As we all know, Ryzen loves fast memory, so I was able to get some free horsepower out of that, so that's good stuff. Then just here real quick, have my notepad that I kind of keep open for all my builds. I just kind of record stats and whatever. So our Cinebench score when we were at the 3.1 score, or I'm sorry, 3.1 overclock was at 487. And then after the overclocks, we were able to hit 587. I think when I had that 3.9 gigahertz, I was able to get like 10 more points. So seriously, diminishing returns wasn't even worth it. But here's just kind of a quick breakdown of the two benchmarks I did with Fortnite and Apex Legends. So prior to overclocks, as you can see, our average frame rate was like 102. Not going to hit everything, but the big things to consider here, the 1% lows and 0.1% lows were kind of gnarly. We had 60.3 and then 8.7. So Fortnite, I know, is kind of known to have weird 0.1% lows. And then down to Apex Legends, we had a 93 average, 1% low is 61.3, and a 0.1% low is 53. So obviously Apex Legends a bit more optimized for at least, I guess, this kind of setup. Definitely would, and I could tell it was running smoother. But then after the overclocks, this is where we kind of saw some benefits, and I definitely noticed some smoothness. So we didn't, going back to the Fortnite benchmark, we really didn't change much as far as frames. So, you know, we were at 102.9, we went to basically the same thing, 103.0. But the difference here is what we see in our 1% lows and 0.1% lows. So previously we were getting 60.3 on 1% and 0.01%, or I'm sorry, 0.1% at 8.7. And I rendered these frames for quite a long time. So this wasn't just a quick, this is like giving it the best opportunity to get its average 0.1 or 0.1% up. So as we can see, we made basically a 3 times improvement in the 0.1%, and I could definitely tell just in the gameplay experience, it was definitely much smoother. And as you can see, we kind of saw the same thing with Apex Legends, although Apex Legends did get an average frame rate bump of almost 10 frames, so we got 8 actually. But the same thing happened where the 1% came up and the 0.1% came up pretty significantly. So in conclusion, guys, this setup is, I would say, a very good entry-level, mid-tier, medium to high settings build. It's not going to knock your socks off as far as CPU performance, but it gets the job done. And I wanted to cover, you know, what your money can get you nowadays, especially with the used market. This total cost of the build was very reasonable, I would say, within the console level. And to be flat out honest with you, this thing has way more potential than a console, because you can even throw a freaking 3900X in it if you want. I've seen tech YouTubers doing it with B350 motherboards. Is it recommended? No, not necessarily, but the great thing is this is a very good starter PC and has a lot of upgrade potential left in it. Some of the budget PCs I've built have been with older hardware, and their upgrade path isn't quite, you know, on the same level. So that's where I'm most impressed with this build is, you know, there's so much more that can be done as far as processor and GPU to really game at the highest levels instead of just kind of a mid to high tier 1080p gaming. So anyway, this is Dan with PC Tech Hustle. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from the process being the build, the overclocking, and kind of what you can get at it as far as squeaking out the maximum performance out of a, you know, Ryzen 3 1200 with a RX 570. So Stay tuned for more, and I'll be coming at you with some more budget build videos real soon. Thanks.
When you want to get off that darkest ground,